Back here, Chasing Checkers, 102.5, 106.3, the game here on this Wednesday or Friday, I guess, so different one this week. Online with Ross Chastain, the driver of the number one for Team Trackhouse. And Ross, we had you on last week. We just wanted to do it again. We're going to try and bring you some good luck at North Wilkesboro. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, didn't have the run we had since we last talked out in Kansas, but you know that's NASCAR racing. When you compete against the entire sport every weekend, you lose a lot of races. You lose a lot of these things. So we finished 18th. Just didn't put together the weekend that we wanted, but yeah, on to North Wilkesboro, chance for $1 million.
So I want to ask you, though, about that. When you look at the run that Kyle Larson had, leading all the laps that he did, and ultimately wins the race, do you go back and as your team kind of look at maybe some things that they were doing, or is it more just studying your race and what you guys did and learning something from that?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to learn there, and first off, just tip my hat to them of the performance. They did get passed throughout the race, but just as an entire race, put it together. They didn't have issues on pit road. They didn't have issues with tires. They did all the things right, and obviously very strong. But they did have people that drove up and were close. They still executed. So that's a non-negotiable. You have to do that. They did it. And then from the setup side, yeah, that's some track out to work with Chevrolet, which we do. We work closely with them and able to see a lot of that. Different teams, so we're not in the shop building our cars side by side, but still there is stuff that we can learn, and rising tide raises all ships. I just pulling the Chevy banner, carrying it for us.
Talking to Ross Chastain, driver of the number one. And so, as you mentioned, we moved to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. Now, I've talked to some drivers about going to these historic tracks, and North Wilkesboro obviously is one that sat there forever. Nobody thought it would ever see the light of day again, and now here we are having the All-Star race the last few years there. As a driver, is it fun for you to go to some of these historic racetracks?
It is a blast. And I just have to start by telling them myself I've got my earpiece in, I'm talking to you riding up the road. It's an hour from the house. It's so nice to stay in the Carolinas here and race. A couple times a year, we want to get out. We want to see the country and race, go to the fans, right? If we only raced in North Carolina, Fort would have stayed a lot smaller a long time ago. But when you have these kind of venues that were, one, just so foundational in building this sport, and then now we can look back at the history and make our own, all an hour from the house. It's really nice. This is a great time of year to be in North Carolina and riding up here right now. It's beautiful.
Well, and you kind of mentioned that really for the next 2 weeks, it's kind of how it used to be that, there were speed weeks in Charlotte. You guys were at home. You don't get a lot of off time. So how important is it to have these 2 weeks where you're at Wilkesboro and then at Charlotte where you don't have to do a ton of travel and you could kind of be at the home base?
It's awesome. Yeah, 38 weekends of racing in the Cup Series. We run the Clash, which was right here, and then we took a week off and then started the Daytona 500, and that got us going, and then we took Easter off, and now we run straight through the end of the year. So that first off weekend almost feels wasted because we're all so excited that it doesn't even really count in my mind. Because I'm so amped up, I definitely would back that thing later in the year somewhere, but that's not how our schedule lays out. So as we have time at home, but I'll be honest, I'm not just going to sit on the couch, those days that I would have been traveling. I've got a list of things I want to get done while I'm here, and the weather's nice, and my family will come up. Mom's coming up this weekend for North Wilkesboro, and then my dad will come up next weekend for the 600. They'll all be up here and just finishing up our watermelon crop in South Florida. So to be honest, my life is easier this time of year than it is for my family back at the farm. So they don't take any sympathy with me when I talk about having to jump on a plane and go somewhere, because they're up at sunrise, ready to harvest the watermelons for the day and working late into the night. So I don't get too much sympathy from the family when I talk about my travel.
Well, I can certainly understand that. So with the All-Star race, there's no points on the line. It's just money. It's just bragging rights. So does it allow you to maybe be more aggressive? And look, you've never been afraid to be aggressive as a driver, but does it allow you to be a little more aggressive, take more chances than you usually would?
I can't try any harder, be any more aggressive this weekend than I am any other, man. Y'all see it. I put my car in high risk situations sometimes, and it pays off some and it doesn't others. So y'all seen it. I'm trying to find that balance, and I've went too far either way at times. And I'm a human being. I'm gonna make those mistakes, those errors, and how I drive on the track. So it's there's nothing more than I want than to win. And if I win this Sunday or next Sunday, or if I'd have won last Sunday, they all mean the same. Now, when we get done, if the bank account looks different, one versus the other, okay, that's something, but nothing to not get excited about. But no, I can't. I got nothing left in the tank to try this weekend that I don't try every other weekend.
And that's honestly one of the things I like about you is how honest you are with that, because any driver that sits here and complains about another driver being too aggressive is a little hypocritical in my mind, because I think that's what you have to do, right? That's what you have to do to win.
Every driver that made it to the Cup Series is aggressive. Every driver that made it to the Cup Series is self-centered, and we care about ourselves more than anybody else on the track. So, when it doesn't go our way, we're not happy. And in sports, you get microphones and cameras pointed at you right when you get out. Sometimes we can control ourselves, and as y'all see, sometimes we can't.
Now, I look at somebody like Carson Hocevar, who's kind of learning, as he goes as a young driver, and I use you as an example. I think you've probably learned maybe when to pick your spots a little bit differently, and that just comes with experience, right?
For me, with laps and races, yes, absolutely. Yeah, the more I race, the better decisions I can make, because I've done it before and it didn't work. And usually, I've learned through mistakes and making the wrong decisions what works and what doesn't.
Talking with Ross Chastain. Now you go from the All-Star race, we'll have the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year when it comes to mileage. What's some things that you've learned in running that thing the last few years that you kind of try to apply to be able to go and get the victory?
Take a snack inside the car with me, man. We're in there for a long time. The 2022 World 600 was the longest mileage and timed race that I know of in the modern era of NASCAR history. So as far as I understand it to be. So that was a wild one. I didn't run, but I had a quick walk to the porta potty when I got done with that race. Just trying to put ourselves in position for the end. We don't have the speed right now to compete right off the bat, and so we're working through that. And we've been working on the virtual laps that I'm able to run to give feedback to my team, and we've already been doing that for Charlotte. So that's high on the list, high on the priority board to go there and compete. We want to see the front. We want to be in the mix and give ourselves a shot. We want to lead 400 laps and make it boring like the 19th or Martin Truex did a couple years ago. I don't remember which car he was in, but he led a ton of that race, and that's the goal. He set the precedent for some of that stuff in a lot of these races, and that's what I strive for. I just want to be competitive and go race and have a chance to win. And if it shakes out in our favor, great. If it doesn't, I want to be up there and put ourselves in position. That means we're doing the right things off the track, and we just haven't been putting ourselves in a position to even really see the front as much as we want.
Well, I'm hoping that us talking the last 2 weeks is going to give you some good luck, whether it's at Wilkesboro or Charlotte or then Nashville when you guys come here, because I like to see you succeed. So hopefully that helps.
Look, I got a watermelon that's itching to be busted, and we'll see. We've got it ready.
Awesome. Ross, thanks so much as always. I love talking to you, and we'll see you here in a few weeks in Nashville.
All right. Thanks, man. Talk to you later.